This is Ashana with the Falzer Club podcast, a microdose of music and purpose for the Falzer Club. The Falzer Club is a music venue in the East Falls section of Philly that combines music and activism to foster community with the mission to make the world a better place for everyone. Today, I'm with the fabulous Sean Hennessey, who will be performing at the Falzer Club this Friday, May 3rd at 8 p.m. with Hennessey Bonfire and special guest, Kora Master, Yuba Sissoko. Sean is a songwriter, a teacher, and a father. He is a director of the World Percussion Program at Germantown Friends School, and he works with Musicopia, a program dedicated to revitalizing school music programs in the greater Philadelphia area. Thanks for being with me today, Sean.
Thanks for having me, Ashana. Appreciate the introduction. Love the Falzer Club. Big fan.
Awesome. Well, we're really happy to have you back at the club. Hennessey Bonfire music has been described as a soulful tapestry of music rhythms, folk harmony, electronic sensibilities, and innovative songwriting. How did you stir all that up into your specific style of music?
Well, yeah, that's I think a lot of years of just being a music appreciator and a student of the world's music, studying music from all over the world, and also just growing up in Philly in a house that was constantly full of music, and then you just being a creative person, and you write songs, and then the music you're taking in becomes part of your output. The input and output work together, and eventually you're kind of fusing different styles together in your own sort of voice. And I think my diverse interests in the world's music has influenced the decisions that I made in songwriting. And my work with Leanna Song, in particular, gives like my songwriting a certain flavor, a certain style. That's not just traditional folk or traditional rock that you might hear from like an American musician, growing up in Philly.
You have a unique and fabulous sound.
Thank you.
How did you start your collaboration with Yuba Sissoko?
Yuba was introduced, it's hard to tell because the community is so tight, but it might have been, I think I've heard about him from, once he got into town, I heard about him from a lot of different people. So sometimes I play with like West African dancers, and I know this guy, Chumani, no, what was his name? He did some work at GFS with me. Ansumani. Ansumani told me about him, and then some other guys within the West African drumming community had mentioned him. Then I had been playing with this guy named Ryan Tennis, who is a very well-known local musician who has since moved to Colombia. And they sort of got connected, and I believe, they kind of lived together for a while. And, I guess it's hard to say. We heard of each other, and we saw each other, and said, it would be great one day to play together. And since then, we've done a handful of gigs here and there, and it's always just, like, really comfortable, like putting on a glove. Just, okay, I get you, you get me. We just vibe, and it's a really nice collaboration without really trying. But again, I don't know the specific person that introduced us. But since then, it's always just been a really nice fit.
It was wonderful to have you both at the club last time, so I'm happy to have you both back because your sounds are really great together. And I didn't know that much about the Kora, so it was a good education for me too. Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to speak with Yuba? Maybe you could have him on the podcast. I'm sure he would love to.
That would be great. He'll be next on my list.
Cool.
You were recently in Austin with South by Southwest. How was that experience?
It was fun, man. It was a wild experience with a lot of unexpected turns of just, wait, where am I playing today? Oh, what is this place? How do I get there? What's going on before me? What's going on after me? Is you know A lot of Austin musicians leave Austin when South by Southwest happens because so many people come in. But I was lucky enough to find I did 4 gigs in 5 days, and then the turnout was great. And what I did do it as a solo performer, and so that was it was a challenge for me because I performed songs from Awake on the Boulevard, this record we put out last year, but I did it using Ableton Live. So I would, a lot of the tracks on the record I did record myself, sort of a multi-instrumentalist kind of person. So a lot of the tracks themselves I had access to them, and I could take them and say, I'm going to drop out the guitar and the voices here, leave the harmonies in here, put the percussion out, and I had control of the tracks. And so I was able to subtract some of the things and then essentially play some things live with the tracks, and then add effects in real time, loop certain sections in real time. And I had some video elements as well. In fact, I was going to do that for the Falser, but instead we got the band to come, and I'm actually, it's much more exciting to play with other people. It is a lonely game when you decide to, I'm just going to go by myself and play the songs from the record. It's a totally different energy, a totally different experience, and not as fun as for me as playing with my wonderful brothers that are in the band. So, but the experience, the experience in Austin was really valuable, challenging, and I did what I came to do, and I played my songs in new and electronically innovating ways, and got some fans, had a good time, and got to see some great music as well.
And I love how you always challenge yourself. And I know on this last album, Awake on the Boulevard, it represents a bit of a new chapter in your career. You describe it as a deeply personal album that explores themes of fatherhood, forgiveness, and growth. How has fatherhood changed you?
Yeah, that's it's changed everything about my choices and priorities as a person. We have 2 wonderful kids, 6 and 11. That's not their names, that's their ages. But it's Aya and Belle. And they, Belle's about to be 11. And when she came into my life, it was just like a total, I didn't like change. I still do exactly what I did before professionally. I was a dog teacher, a performer, and musician. But it just kind of lines you up with like this, it expands your ability or your capacity to love, I think, more than you've experienced before. And I didn't know we were going to have another one, and then that came, and then that just like multiplied exponentially. Now you see them bouncing off each other, and it's just out of control. So I wrote a couple songs on the record for my daughters, and I even this last week they were in London with Iris, my wife, and their mom. They were there visiting family, and I had some time to myself. I had like a week at home, and all I wanted to do was write another song or 2 for them, like I did last time, which I have a couple others that haven't been recorded yet. But all I wanted to do was to write another one for one of them, and I just didn't get the chance to, because I'm also in getting my master's right now at Berkeley online for film scoring and songwriting, and my schedule is just very full with things to do. There's always a lot of things to do, so I didn't get a chance to. But it's always on the tip of my tongue: is how can I celebrate these little people? inspire them as much as they inspire me to be a good person. Yeah, they're awesome. I love them.
Yep. I have two children too, and they're like little mirrors into who you are. Sometimes reflecting the good, and sometimes I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I know where they got that, and not
Oh
necessarily.
yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. I absolutely. I'm always watching myself, and what did I take on when I was a kid that I don't want to pass on, and what did I take on when I was a kid that I do want to pass on? It's a daily struggle.
And it's a growing process for all of us.
Hmm.
So where does the forgiveness theme come in with your album?
Oh, I suppose yeah. I mean, in particular, it has to do with my own father, which it's a long story short. Had never met him until he had passed away. When he and that's what a wake on the boulevard means. It's an actual wake, like a Catholic kind of funeral wake where you go see the body. That was on the boulevard, Route 1, the Roosevelt Boulevard. That was when I first saw his actual body. It was maybe I did when I was really young, but I never remembered it. I had two moms, and they were amazing parents. But my birth father and my mom, they didn't want to be together. They didn't want to raise me. Or actually, I don't. It's kind of complex. I don't really know the details about why he wasn't around or didn't come around even just to check in. I know some stories, but point is, he missed his chance essentially. So there's this there's that kind of feeling of anger or not understanding why and not being able to ask that question because he's dead. So there's a song called Open Casket Song that deals with that, and it's sort of like, all right, now I'm a dad. I know how important and special it is. I can't even imagine what it would be like to not be around. Like it would just be so. It's sort of like in the song and a couple other songs on the record. It's like, what were you thinking? I know you could have come. It's not like my mom kept you away. You were so close, and so you kind of process that. I kind of asked those questions in the song, and then at the end, through the process of writing the song and finishing the song, I'm like, all right, you know what? It's all good. I forgive you, sort of. I'm a really fulfilled person. Like I was very loved as a kid, but once you become a dad, not having had a dad, you're sort of like, what the hell, It's not like he died and wasn't there while I was coming up. Like he was totally around during my formative years. So it's a shame, and it's probably it's a shame that it didn't work out. But it's something that you have to forgive to kind of move on from, and so I think that's what I meant when I wrote it deals with forgiveness.
Yeah, I feel the same way as a parent. Like I have to stop myself and being like, wait, where are you going? Like, right, they're older now, 21. They're like, she goes off on her own.
That's gonna hurt. I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel so lucky to be able to have the time that I have with my kids. And
yeah.
all I can is what incredible sadness for your dad that he never got to experience all the amazing stages of your life.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame, Yeah. But my mom is still alive. I'm really close with her. She lives right down the street. One of my other mothers did pass away. That's a whole nother podcast. But it was a beautiful story. And we can talk about it some other time. Yeah, but it is we're moving forward, and I kind of accentuate the positive and the things that I'm thankful for, which is what my kids right now, and life that I'm building with them.
Yeah, the gratitude you have is really beautiful. And
Thank you.
I appreciate people who are givers, right? Who give back to others. And you are a teaching artist with Musicopia, a program that brings music to underdeserved students in Philadelphia. What do you think music brings to children?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just pure. I mean, it's almost indescribable, the joy that I think a love of music can bring to a child. I mean, it's absolutely like kind of like the water that's in our body is like inseparable from our actual, being. It's part of us is music. It's the true human expression in real time, and it's sort of I think for say someone who I think you like an underserved child, like in the Philadelphia public school system, where there's like music programs being cut and just no resources and no instruments, and to see the shine on their faces when they see Leanna Song come in and play some ancient songs and drumming and dance. It's just a fulfilling and rewarding experience, and it gives them a vision of hey, you can do this. This is part of your human history, and I feel like it's necessary. It's like, to me, it's just as important as any other STEM class to have a strong music and arts program. And unfortunately, a lot of them are being cut. So Musicopia is a fantastic program, and happy. I think maybe 6 or 7 years I've been doing it, and I love it. I think it's really good for the community, and it feels good to keep. Leanna Song is sort of moved in that general direction as a teaching ensemble. It's been around for about 20 years, but I'm actually reviving the ensemble, and we should talk later about some performances down the line. I'm reviving the performing ensemble by teaching weekly classes at my studio in Mount Airy, where for free, I just invite people who want to learn Ghanaian drumming or Afro-Cuban drumming over. And that's how the group started in the first place. I got back from Ghana in 2003 or 2004 and just started saying, hey, come over, let's play. I'm going to teach you what I've learned. And then it kind of grew into, and I continued to study over the years. And so now I'm just reviving it again now that my kids are like, I don't have to focus so much on them. I can be like, okay, let me try to revive this. And because it's a beautiful thing to drum together, especially in this tech, world we live in now. It's so partitioned, and everybody has got their own little island that they live on. But you have an experience drumming together for 2 hours where you haven't thought about your phone, or you can walk away with a little bit more bliss, and it's fulfilling for me because I love to teach.
That's so beautiful. I was curious about several things about the Leanna Song, and now I want to join that because I have a drum, but I just drum very quietly, sort of by myself.
Sure.
I didn't grow up in a house with music, so music is almost my new exploration. So it's really interesting. And when you, on your website, when you were talking about Leanna Song, you said every person has been held back and pushed forward, which makes us rhythmically messed up. That really gave me a while. And I thought, that feels like it has psychological components too. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh yes, you must be referencing an interview I did with like WIBE a long time ago. I might have said that, or maybe did you read it? Or I think I remember what you're talking about. That I kind of think that's still true. I think I said that when I was young and a little bit also maybe just presumptuous. But it just means that it's what you're talking about, like the served versus underserved. I think, people who have the opportunities to experience music, have rhythm, essentially rhythm in their life, will have rhythm in their life always. And students who maybe people who don't have rhythm, let's just call it that, in their life, may have a hard time staying in time with times as they change. You might feel a little bit off, out of place, because everything is rhythm, everything is a cycle, and if you're adept at rhythm, I'm talking human, not metronomic, but the human rhythm and soul that is in all music, then you're able to move through life with a little more grace, a little bit more groove, and I think it helps. I think it helps you at all ages, and you can literally jump in at any time. It doesn't have to be from birth. But there's people that are sung to, danced in the womb, that are coming out into a world of music, and there's something that happens to your DNA that kind of syncs you up with what's going on in the world. And there's people that don't have that, and that affects them in a certain way. I mean, maybe they have other things that they're, it's not the only thing. It's just the one I tended to focus on that in that quote. But I do truly believe that, and it guides my teaching with Leanna Song, which is kind of the guiding principle of all the teaching I do at GFS, and all inside of Musicopia. Is Leanna is a vine, right? And it's like usually spelled Liana, and it's a vine that grows in the rainforest up high in the trees and ties the community together, and it's a representation of unity and strength. And it's something and I learned about this in Ghana, and it was something that was like, this is a beautiful metaphor for what music can do for people. So that's the concept. And you can't have this, a huge part of it is rhythm and sharing in a shared sense of time and shared sense of rhythm. So that's what I meant. I hope that answers your question. I could go on for a very long time about it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful metaphor. I mean, it really resonated with me, because I was thinking, I know those points in my life where I have felt like held back, pushed forward, right? Heading into things where I feel literally like that my life is out of rhythm. So, yeah, you get.
I felt it too. We've all felt it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not perfectly in rhythm. No one is. It's so many things can happen to you. We've all endured tragedies, hopefully less than more. But it was, it's something I think we all feel as human throughout some time in your life. And I think being able, like music can kind of soothe that, solve it, make it feel a little bit better, and say, hey, this, being okay, this is just part of the life. This is just part of life. It's a time when you're down. It's the part of the groove that's not the peak of the song. This is like the bridge, or something. It's so there's inside of these rhythms that we study and learn and teach, and in the songs, inside of the musical structure themselves is like a map for like a perspective on your life, and giving you that perspective can help you cope with things that come your way.
I think I definitely need to come to your drum circle.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
The older I get, the more I think about how I use my time and choices that I make. And, you teach, you parent, you work, you write music. And then, of course, we all have those banal human tasks that keep our lives in motion, right? Eating, paying bills, cleaning. Like, how do you find balance in your life?
Right now, I'm very overwhelmed with all of the things that I do. The time, honestly, sometimes I have to turn off and like watch a show. At nighttime, like can do so many things during the day, but I'll pop on Netflix and watch something on Apple TV and get into some to another person's state of mind. And I grew up in TV culture. Like my grandma, I was laying on her lap while she was smoking cigarettes, watching soap operas during the day. Like it was just part of this natural thing. And for years I was kind of like ashamed of it. I'm not like, I don't watch TV all day, but it helps me to unwind a little bit. I also but I do love what I do. So, this morning I had to go teach a class of 25 drumming kids, and that when I leave that, I'm energized, and I feel like I don't even think about it. But I think that adds balance to my life as well. But because I do too many things, just like I think we all do, and getting swept away by current events and a lot of things that are really stressful in the world. Music can help me. Comedy can help me. Watching a show at night can help me. Yard work. I just put down some new grass that I'm staring at right now, which I'm very proud of. Things like this. I think we all just do what we need to do to stay sane. As long as we don't, I feel like trying to spend more time with other people is a true way to find balance. You really have to have a strong friend group that you spend time with. Fires, backyard fires, really good beer, things that actually got amplified during the pandemic. Things that I didn't realize that I like to do so much is to sit around and talk. That became something that really I think helps keep balance for me. Yeah.
It's our human connection.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
the Falzer Club is great for that because you guys, that's what you do. You bring people together there. I've had some amazing nights there. Great people, great shows, and it's always a lot of conversation and listening, and it's you guys have a nice center there for this type of experience.
Thank you. That's definitely our goal, and I know you're going to be back with the Keithy also, so that'll be we're just going to keep bringing you into the fold.
Yeah, I'm happy to be there.
I want to end with a snippet from a song from your latest album, Awake on the Boulevard, which has a completely new meaning for me now. I really appreciate that. Cool. And I want you to tell me a little bit about the song that you picked to share and why you picked it.
Let's go to the happy one. Let's do the one, Glad to Be Your Dad, which is about the one I wrote about my first daughter, Belle. And that's a really happy song, and it's true. I'm glad to be your dad.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to take a break and listen to Glad to Be Your Dad.
There's about 4 things I love in this world. One of them is music, one of them's a little girl. Well, she's sweet, don't you know I'm really just sweet on her. She knows how to hold my hand, she knows how to stop my heart. She helped me grow into a man, she really is a work of art. Oh, and now she's 4, oh Lord, could I ask for anything more? Just another morning together, sunlight in her hair, she's mine, and I tell her all the time that I'm so glad to be your dad. When it's the weekend, I take her out to see some shows, or maybe hit the zoo, or the diner, really no one knows. Whether it's Luna, Petunia, or Paw Patrol, we like watching on the screens. We know it's just a treat. We know the shows are just dreams, and real life is way more sweet. Oh, and now she's 4, oh Lord, could I ask for anything more? Just another morning together. Next year she'll be 5, oh my, how those early years fly by. So I try to remember the way we used to sing in the flower walks in spring, in the circle circles we would pace until she finally fell asleep beneath the willow trees. It brought me to my knees to lay her down.
That was beautiful, Sean. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ashana. I appreciate you.
This is Ashana from the Falzer Club podcast, a microdose of music and purpose for the Falzer Club. And today I was with Sean Hennessey, who will be performing at the Falzer Club this Friday, May 3rd at 8 p.m. with Hennessey Bonfire and special guest, Kora Master Yuba Sissoko. We hope to see you there. Be well, be creative, and make a difference.